Welcome, everyone, to episode 431 of Dial the Gate, the Stargate Oral History Project. My name is David Reed. I appreciate you joining me for this episode. Uh, Samantha Carter, Amanda Tapping. Man, what a hell of a way to start off, Sharon. How are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Samantha Carter is not made by one person. Her words come from someone else. Her face comes from someone else. Her rigorous activity comes from someone else. It's very easy for us to get into the mindset that Amanda Tapping is Samantha Carter. She is Samantha Carter, but also you are Samantha Carter as well. Her double for how many seasons of SG-1 and Atlantis?
A lot here and there,
Yeah.
pockets. I had a little break myself with kids and family, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, quite a few
Wow.
of these seasons. I actually printed them out, so I was like looking at them, going,
I
"Wow,
can't
that's a lot."
wait. All right.
Okay.
This is a live broadcast, everyone. So we've got Sharon with us on the YouTube live feed. If you want to submit a question to her, you can do so through Lockwatcher. He's in the chat right now taking questions. So the fact of the matter is, I haven't had the pleasure of a ton of stunt personnel on the show. I've had Dan. Thank you, Dan, for connecting us, by the way. Dan
Yeah.
Shea. I've had Bam Bam, who has gone on to be a director in his own right. There's so much that goes into this process, and it is not a role for the faint-hearted. It's for someone who is more hardy. What made you go, you know what? I want to have the crap beat out of myself for a living, or I want to, where did the kernel come from, Sharon? I'm very interested to find out.
You know what? It's funny because everyone always asks that, and it's probably one thing for boys and one thing for girls. But growing up, I
Yeah.
had an older brother that I completely idolized. So I'm the youngest of four, and there's three girls and one
Oh,
boy. And so I just wanted to do everything that he was doing. And in order to do that, I had to do stuff with him. So I picked up dirt biking. I spent a lot of time BMXing, probably like every weekend when I was 12 to 15, driving from Ottawa to Kingston with my parents in the big long station wagon with the bikes loaded up.
BMXing.
BMXing, yeah. And then he taught me how to dirt bike. And so this
Okay.
having lots of variety, I think, was what it was. Just for a female, just being able to do lots of different things. And then that's when I started to go, oh, okay. You know, I moved to BC, saw lots of the trucks and movie sets out there, and I would just, pre-COVID, you could go and knock on the door of these sets and
Sure.
bring your resume, well, safely,
Wow.
or get a look at who's coordinating, read
Yeah.
the list, look at the name, and I saw Dan Shea, and so knock on the, is Dan Shea around? I want to give him my resume, and by like probably the 10th or 15th resume, that pretty much looked the same. I didn't have any credit, so it was just photos. It was photos of me doing a BMX trick or riding a dirt bike. And so that I think helped. So he's like, oh, okay. And my height and my size was very unique. So I think he just gave me a chance.
Was this Stargate?
It was Stargate. Yeah.
It was your first
Like
gig.
well, no, my first stunt was with Bam Bam, which was so funny on this other show. And then Dan, I had moved here from Ontario, and then I was just going out to volunteer. And I just remember I was on Stargate volunteering to move mats and pads with like
Yeah.
two other stunt
Yeah.
people. And it was the crappiest day. It was like pouring rain. There was like huge porta pits that we needed to move around, and we were there for 14 hours with Dan. He's like, move them over there. Nope, move them over there. Nope, move them over there. And so he kind of like, okay, she's, really wants to do this. And I think just being around him and seeing my size, and it matched Amanda, and that's when he decided to give me my first chance. But Bam Bam gave me my first chance, and he, in order to like vet me, he brought me to this gym and he beat the crap out of me
For
to see
sure.
if I could do it. And I said every time I got up, and he's like, okay. And then it just sort of rolled. It's kind of
And
funny.
you probably enjoyed nearly every second of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was good. And then
You know how to have a good time,
yeah,
don't you?
yeah, totally.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
for, I guess, Amanda, she had such short hair for Carter. It was
Yes.
very, very short. I have a lot of hair. And so just I think it's just a lot of, everyone to make a movie, it's just like a team effort and however you can help, whether it's hair or makeup or anything. So I was just very helpful. Like, what can I do to help depuff this? But I really wanted the chance. So I slicked back my hair and put it in like a bun and helped. She's like, oh, this is going to work. So
So they didn't have you cut it.
no, they asked, but I had lots of advice, and they were all just saying, for other roles, even like I was just gonna say though,
Oh,
it's interesting because when you're new as a performer of lots of jobs, you want to do everything right away. You just want to give up everything, your time, and just say yes to everything. And so then you really have to think about, okay, like I really want this, and I will do anything for it, but you have the older people that you could talk to
yeah.
about it and say, no, like long term, if you are wanting to do this, if you cut it, you'll, kind of pinhole yourself for without having your hair to double other people. So it was good advice.
Yeah,
So I kept it.
you have to have something left of yourself to give for the next project, you know?
Yeah,
You don't
you
want
do. I
to
think that comes with everything, right? Like, yeah, yeah. It's a balance, right?
for sure. So,
Yeah.
what season was this that you started off on? So
Oh
Bam Bam was
gosh.
already there.
Well, yeah,
So
it was Dan Shea that hired me. So I
Dan was there
arrived
from
in
the beginning.
Vancouver. Yeah, like probably 99. So I guess season 2,
Okay, so
season
you were on the
end of
show
season 1.
before Bam Bam was on the show.
If Dan Shea was first,
Dan Shea was on the pilot. Yeah. So
oh, I wasn't here for the
1999
pilot. Yeah, I was
was season 2 of SG-1.
okay. I think I came at the end of season 1.
Wow. So you were a part of this thing for nearly the entire run for Carter.
A long time, and then
Wow.
I have 2 daughters, and so I had the first one in 2009, so I
Okay.
stepped away for that, and then the second one was 2012.
Okay. So yeah, by
And I was there when
2009, that was his
Amanda,
universe. So
yeah, yeah, and I was there when Amanda had her with her daughter,
Olivia.
yeah, which was
Yeah,
so amazing.
absolutely. Did you
Yeah,
go on to work with them on Sanctuary?
I went on to work with them with Sanctuary, yes, and a little bit of Atlantis.
Okay, got it. But SG-1
Yeah,
mostly.
mostly SG-1. Yeah,
Yeah, she was in season 4 of Atlantis for that season. A very notable episode that I suspect you were a part of called
yeah.
Trio. They were in a Janai mine, and it was an episode that ran well over budget. Was designed to be a cost cutting episode, but there's a lot of let's break this character down for you and your relationship with Amanda and everything else. What kind of a person is Carter to you? When you're looking at who this is, and when you compute Amanda, and when you compute the text and how your approach is to it, Amanda and I haven't had a chance to meet on Dial the Gate yet. It's been a while since we've spoken, but so I'm very interested. Who is this character as far as you're concerned? Because you're not just executing the more intense visuals as far as Carter is concerned. You're embodying that character for that moment in time.
Yeah, she's very like she could do things like she's very athletic and she wasn't, I can't like the character wasn't like, oh, I can't. She was very strong, capable is the word,
Hmm.
right? So it was, that balance. Okay, what can actually Amanda do for Carter to get her into it to feel confident and embody the confident Carter? And then what do we need to make sure that it's obviously safe? So I was just playing a confident, and she's fun and relaxed as well, so she's not like too stiff or so it was a
Hmm.
lot. I would always just try to talk to Amanda, say like, how do you want to play this, how do you want it to look? I remember what you were talking about, the episode where they found the mine, because we're in a big field and then just like we fall into it basically. Yeah, so that was super cool. And yeah, so and Amanda just we'll get into that later, just an incredible person, right? So I really enjoyed being able to have that relationship with her where I could talked to her about how she wants it to look, and mostly like athletic and confident, and that she was very capable. And so I think part of our job as a stunt performer is that it's not just the actual stunt. A lot of it is what people don't know is like the lead up and the after, in order for the editing, so how can I match Amanda leading up to it so she runs strong, and so doing that piece to cut it well, and then rolling out of something Amanda's got to be able to do, and she can. And so we were just very trusting, and we just had a very good working relationship, which I really like. And
She's very
she can
collaborative.
laugh at herself. Yeah, yeah. And she can laugh at herself too. So if she, sometimes a lot of things, like you need to go, okay, step with the left and then the right in order to like sort of match it, or you're carrying the gun in the right hand. So, and so if she does like a misstep, we all just like, she laughs first at it, and wants to go for it again. So yeah, it's neat. It's asking her like, would you realistically be able to do like a full sort of turn to lead into it, or tuck, or to roll out of it, that kind of stuff. So like, what would Carter? She's confident, she's good with a gun, she's got all those qualities. So just working with her to make sure that it looks how she wants it to, basically.
What is we talked a little bit about BMX. What is your athletic background? Do you have any martial arts experience? Are there any like specific areas that you developed to or have honed to get you prepared for basically a number of these physical tasks? Is there anything specific that you are known for?
See, I was not a fighter growing up at all.
Okay.
Like, I had to go in for training for that. So when I moved here, I would always just find the training. Erna Jackson had a gym. All the stunt people would go and do it together. So I would take the time to learn the sticks and basic hand combat. But it doesn't come naturally to me. I'm sort of tall and gangly, but I love motorcycles, dirt bikes, gymnastics, that kind of thing. And I feel like when I was getting into it, a lot of people were saying the more you can do and keep yourself more broad, the better. So I thought that was really good. And we always had people that were, super handy, like Bam Bam, obviously, and Dan, great with fighting. So together we would sort of walk Amanda through the steps. But again, the role of Carter, she wasn't like this very specific military. So it worked out really well. It really did. Yeah.
I've got to ask, do you still ride?
Oh yeah, a ton. Well, I sold my street bike because I was just with kids. It's weird. And then dirt biking, I recently just sold it. And I actually, funny how things come around, because I just had a stunt job BMXing at the age of my age now, when I was 12. So it was pretty cool. It was
wow, that is wild.
gig. Yeah, I was doing this like just this BMX race on camera, and it had to look like I don't know, couldn't keep up. So I was like, well, everyone else was 20 and I was older, so it was pretty funny. But it was cool. I sent it to my brother, and I was like, "You got me. You basically inspired me." So that was neat for him. Yeah.
I have a Yamaha Super Tenere that I love very much. So
nice. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've been riding for a long time. So I imagine that continuity is something that you really have to keep your eyes open for, in terms of from one take to the next. But I'm also assuming that it's not, that there are people on set to assist you with that process. Am I right?
Yeah. But it just makes you a better performer. You could be over at Crafty or sitting in your trailer until it's time for you to come up. But it's just, that's not how I ever wanted to operate. I learned from sort of the best and try to keep following that. Just with the doubling stuff, you want to make sure what's the scene before, how's she holding her gun, how's she running, what's foot does she start off with, and again, talking with them how they want it to look. And so just all that, it's all encompassing.
How often were you firing the weapons, or was that always Amanda on camera?
No, well, we had the armorer Rob Fournier. His team, they're so good. I don't know if you've had him on there, but I know
twice,
he's actually
3 times.
Really, he's so good. Yeah, I grew up with them, like with all of the stunties and Rob. So I was in DC-5 with his original company, and then just learned all the tactical stuff and worked with them. And yeah, see him out on set still now, and I think he's hoping to go on the movie
Oh, for
in
Stargate?
England. Or you would, yeah, you would love. I'm sure a lot of us would love to go and
Well,
reminisce.
there are only a handful of people, particularly in his field, who can pull this off. You know, it's one of those
Yeah.
it's one of those frustrating things that I know, especially in my audience, we were all really hoping for Vancouver to be the home for this
Oh,
this
that would have
next,
been
right? I know.
would
But
have
you know
been so good.
they've got a master plan, and I'm hoping they'll bring a few over, but we're gonna have to see. So,
Yeah, it'll be so
um,
interesting. So, but yeah, obviously had all the plastic guns and things, and then there was so many times where we were out in those fields with, running through the fields, and explosions go off, and that was so fun remembering that with the guns, having the plastic, making sure it's on like your right hip, you're not landing on it. It's just such a good memory. Everyone always asks you, as a stunt performer, just what's your favorite, what's your funnest, and this one was just so much fun. And also I think it'll just be a great memory for me with the crew and the cast, and just getting to know Amanda, and also just that it was my first real show.
right. What is
Yeah.
Amanda Tapping like as a as how freely could you feel coming to her and getting input or making a suggestion, or how was she to work with on the day to day?
Oh, she was the best. Like I feel really lucky. I think I probably am where I am today because I just looked up to a female that was in the role that she was as an actor. Again, you said like just collaborating. I could knock on her trailer and just say, hey, here's some stunt pads. You want to put these under? And she just was so, and it was vice versa, right? It wasn't, oh, you're just the double, or I want to do it. I can do it all. And,
Right.
or some people just sit in the trailer. They're like, Sharon can do it. And they don't even come out. So you can't really work with them. And then it went on with Amanda, which was amazing. Just being a friend, and then she went on to direct and directing other shows.
Right.
She put my name in to be my first coordinating job with her for Motherland and Reese. So just
Wow.
yeah, and then just seeing her in the role as a mom and being able to juggle it all. I think that's what we need as females, to see that you don't have your kids and it stops. You can still be um, working,
You
trying to
can.
do what you love, be behind the camera, be on camera. Just she has so many. Yeah, I she's amazing.
Absolutely amazing. One
Yeah,
of every accolade that she gets, she deserves. I have a shot that
yeah.
I want to run by you. I want to know if you were here for this. Um, Let me switch this over here real quick so you can see. Give me just a second. It just dawned on me
Yeah.
that you're not going to have that. Okay, here we go. Does this ring any bells? This is
Oh, honey.
one of the most. This is perhaps I think the longest action sequence in SG-1. This is from
Yeah, that was
Heroes,
amazing. Yeah.
Andy Makita, and
Hmm.
it's one of those sequences that you have to wonder how they got that on a TV budget, where you
Yeah,
got
I
all
just
these
that
players going on here.
well, this is what's so funny is that when I just told you earlier that is my memory of Stargate, this type of sequence, just always outside in the grass, running, things blowing up, people going everywhere, rocks, fake rocks that look like they're a million pounds, but you could just lift it up and throw it.
There's so much happening in this shot.
Yeah.
How much preparation is involved in something like that? How many chances
Yeah.
do you get to have at it before it's photographed? Typically.
Well,
Or
there's,
is it
I
always
mean, that
different?
it's always different. Also,
Okay.
at that specific time, I was so new, so I was just following my one my one job.
Hmm.
But now that I've been doing this for over 20 years, I know looking back that there was just so much going on. So the coordinator, it's a lot to make sure everyone's, doing where they need to be, doing their stunt that's on camera, not missing it, doing it in the wrong spot. And a lot of the special effects, you got to work with them a lot. This is going to be going off here, be safe
Mhm.
over there. It's just a big day. So when you get home and it all goes well, you're just really happy when everyone's high-fiving and clapping after. I think that's why some people get such a rush. And it's just such a team effort. So
I have had an interesting couple of conversations with Dan and Bam Bam regarding the rush, as you call it. You you have to watch out for people who don't have a safety mindset, who they get off on the thrill of this and want to go in and do something for the sake of doing it, or uh, something similar. And I'm curious if you've ever, although I suppose by the time they get to where you are on set and everything else, that's not uh, that's far less likely. But have you ever been in a situation, not to name names or anything like that, but have you ever been in a situation where you're like, you know what, this doesn't feel safe to me. I'm not crazy about this situation that I'm in. And how do you handle that?
yes, yeah, that's a big question. That again, it sort of ties back into what I was saying about, um, when you're a new stunt performer, you'll say yes to all these things and you want to prove yourself. So it all ties in with that, not just like whether you'll cut your hair or not. It's like, what will you do? Because there's just so much going on. It's a big question. So, because if you say yes to one thing, it doesn't really help your stunt community, because if you do it, maybe you shouldn't. That way it protects
Mm.
everybody. So I've been in those situations, and you just have to work together as a team with your coordinator, because if they're asking to, do something that doesn't seem right. You have to have a voice. You have to have your voice. So being new is one thing, and
Mm.
saying yes to everything isn't always going to be also, I think the main thing before you even get into that position, if the coordinator says they want to hire you for this and they tell you what it is, you have to be honest with yourself. Can you do that? Are you going to show up on the day and you have lied to yourself that you want the day, but you should have maybe passed on it because you're not
If you're not
100%, or you
ready.
haven't practiced it enough, you're not ready. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
a lot different when you get to set, even with cars and things. And you just really have to be confident and know that you've practiced it. And so, but yeah, there's a little bit of a funny story to that too, because when you are new, we have this debate going on that with some of the coordinators and the performers. It's like when they call you and they say, "Are you available on this day?" People just say no. You have to just say yes, you're available, or no. You don't say what's the stunt because there's two
Oh.
ways to think about it. Maybe some people think you want to know what the stunt is so you can bring all your gear that you might need, because what you would bring for a driving day would be different for like a high fall. But some people are along the lines like, well, if you're such a professional, you just bring all your stuff anyway to every stunt, which is also very true, right? So if you're capable across all avenues, you bring it all and you're ready for anything. But now we're just joking, because as we get older, we're like, is it day or is it night? Because we're probably in bed by the time we're probably wanting to be in bed at 9:30 now. So that's the running joke. But it
So
is
you're
true. You
are you saying that if you do ask what's the stunt, that there's a possibility that they're going to just move on to someone else?
No, it's just like, you're not saying what is it. It's just a valid question, and lots of corners think they don't think anything of it. But I was just talking to some of the more just experienced ones when I was younger. It's like, what's the best way to, and should I ask what it is so I can bring more gear and know exact, and also, like I said earlier, like to know whether I can actually do it and feel confident in it. So
Right.
yeah, it just goes both ways. It was more just like a sort of a running joke, like, should you ask? But yeah, you definitely want to know what you're doing, and
Am I
that
getting
you can do it.
wet? I
Yeah.
mean, there's
Do I
there's
need
all
my
kinds of
wetsuit?
practical situation. Do I need a change of clothes for heaven's
There
sake?
are.
Do I
It
need
is.
gosh.
We do ask. We say, what do I get to do, or what do you need? What should I bring? Those are all good questions. But it just goes back to what I was saying. When someone asks you're available, you just want to say yes to everything, and then it goes along with the safety. What you're saying, like, so. Yeah, getting details isn't a bad thing.
How transparent, and maybe you can't speak to this, maybe you have none. How, but in terms of the industry, how transparent should you be on phobias?
Yeah, very.
Like I have a serious problem with heights, or
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have a terrible fear of drowning. That these things apply.
Oh, 100%. And for example, I was on Snakes on a Plane. So they're getting a bunch of people to be on the plane. And if you have a fear of snakes, you might want to mention that because there will be real snakes on the plane. So
Oh gosh,
yeah, again, don't just say
man.
yes because you want the days and then have a panic attack sitting on the
Right,
plane. So that
exactly.
kind of stuff. Or spiders. Like I've had I don't know, how good are you with tarantulas? That kind of thing.
I don't know. Let me know when I meet one.
Yeah, totally.
I'll tell
But
you.
they're all good questions. It's important.
I'm curious, Sharon. Have you, and you don't have to answer, or you can noodle it when we talk and
Okay.
come back to it later. And if things come up to you, let me know.
Oh well.
Have you ever gone for something was like, man, I don't know if I should have taken this, and you get to the end of that day, and it was like, that was hard, but I
Oh
did
yeah,
it. I got
100%.
through that, or you
Yeah.
you conquered a fear, or approached something that you had. Like I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull. I think I can. I think I have it in me, but I'm not sure until I get out there.
Yeah, I think that's a great question because the coordinator like is 100% confident in you because it's a lot of things. It's a mix. Are they competent on set? Do they work well with the crew? Are they going to be helpful on set? Are they going to be those little things? And so when the coordinator calls you, they're confident already in those types of things, and they're confident that your level of what you can do. And so I've seen it before where someone is, but there's also that like they're confident that where you can push yourself and want to try it and where you shouldn't. So it really just comes down to the performer being honest with what they can do. But yeah, I've been in a position where if someone says that you can do something, like I said, doing it on camera in a small space with crew around is completely different. So sure, you can go and ride a motorcycle in the open, area on a street or on a trail, but the second you're in a confined area with people not paying attention and you need to be able to ride slower and be able to maneuver around things and people and have your head up for someone like a bogey or something, that kind of
Yep,
thing. It's just another level. So saying you can do something is a lot different than can you do it on set, and
that's
can you do it 10 times if they need you to ask it. Sure, I could do one
that's true
thing
too.
once, but trust me, you're going to have to do it more than just one time. So
I guess I'm asking for specific examples if you can
yeah, I
recall where
have a
you've
specific
conquered.
example.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give
I
us a
went to
couple of
Western.
juicy details.
It's so funny. I went to Western University, and I played soccer for them for
Oh,
5 6 years. Yeah, so that's how I moved out to BC. I got asked to try out for this team out here, and so I was in Vancouver. I was like, wow, this is so amazing. But when I was at Western, I had a friend that was on the rowing team, and so I went down, and we would just go and she showed me how to get in, to the boat and all that. And I did it. I did it in those tippy sculls, and she showed me it was a 2-person one. We played around with it. It was fun early mornings, and then in return, I would just kick the ball around with her on the soccer field and stuff because she always wanted to play more soccer. And then in the end, I got a call to see if I could do like this rowing job, doubling Rebecca Romijn. And so I was like, yeah, I can row. And then, oh boy, that was like my stomach was in a knot like the whole day. But again, I knew I could do it, but I was just like nervous for it because again, on camera, it's different. Like it could be choppy and it could be
were you
windy. And
rowing
so,
alone?
yeah, yeah, I was. Everything went amazing and I was super thrilled and I was really happy. But yeah, I
Could
had
have
a
gone
lump in
sideways.
it could have gone sideways. And if I fall in, oh, hair, wig, reset. Oh, it was just like, so I could not do that. So also I have to look better and like a professional rower because that was her role, right? You got to embody, like you were saying, the role of that character. She was a rower when she was younger. She's out early in the morning. She's got to, she can't look like really bad, right? So I had a lump in my stomach that I was gonna. It wasn't that I couldn't do it is I was going to let someone down.
Yeah, exactly right. There are
Yeah.
there are fewer awful feelings for me than not being there when I'm expected in whatever capacity that is, whether
That's
it be
exactly what it is. Yeah.
punctuality or in a task or something. It's like you've failed, and you've got
Yeah.
150 people waiting on you to nail
Waiting on
it.
you. Yeah.
And
So
on top of
yeah.
that, Rebecca Romijn wants to come off looking good. So, and
Yeah.
there's a little bit of there's an unsung hero quality to that as well, because you are supposed to be invisible.
Yeah. And you know what? Some people pride themselves on being a good athlete, right? And I also pride myself on being humble, quite humble. And can you do this?
Right.
Yes, not cocky, right? And so
No.
I took it, and then I was humbly after just saying, okay, this pushed me to the coordinator, and he's like, I could tell because I was just like nervous. So it went well. Like I said, you always like there's even if you fail or you do your best or whatever, you're gonna learn something from it. So I learned a lot that day, a lot. Like just don't push yourself. That's not the time to do it. I did go out a bunch before the day and down to the Vancouver Rowing Club, and I did a bunch of. So I did the work to be able to do it. But again, we just pride ourselves on being able to do it so well and so efficiently on set. You're doing it for someone else, right? When you're doubling someone.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they're paying
Yeah.
you for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's also, you get some days that you're an ND stunt person where you're playing yourself and you do your best job, whereas then there's a position where you're stunt doubling. So yeah, you need to be proficient in that when you're stunt doubling and proficient as a ND stunt person when you're playing yourself. But you really only have yourself to disappoint when you're doing an ND stunt, but really when you're doubling someone, it's a bigger pressure, a lot more.
Is ND non-double?
It's a nondescript stunt.
Okay, so you're not playing yourself. You are playing an unnamed character.
Exactly. Like, oh, you're a woman who gets her purse stolen.
Right. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I've got a few fan questions coming in for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Philippe cannot. How badly have you injured yourself? How badly have you been injured?
I love that
if
question.
If you're willing to share.
I am. I worked on a show after I guess I was doing stunts for about 5 to 8 years or so, and I was super nervous about this the whole week. I did all the lead up of this fight scene on a huge earth mover. Have you seen those trucks? They're massive. They've got a landing they're at the mining. They're in the mining. You see it on the way to Squamish on the right hand side. There's a huge earth mover. It's basically a giant.
It's been a while since I've been to Squamish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The mining. Yeah, they carry all the dirt, but they're huge. Yeah,
just a second here. I want to get the exact one right. Hang on just a moment. I apologize.
So glad you're doing all the screen sharing.
Okay, here we go. Hang on just a second here. So, which one of these lovely orange creations were you dealing with?
Ooh,
what did it most look like? Oh, great. Okay,
the very middle one, sort of. I can't even explain it. It's huge. Yeah, that one. Okay. But it had a platform on the front, and it's massive. I can't even tell you how high it is. It's really big. So we were on a platform. Yeah, it's not a common one. Think of the biggest dump truck for mining, and on the front there's a platform. So we do this fight scene on the platform while it's moving. And yes, the dump truck's moving. We've got these 2 SUVs that are trying to drive up the side of the dump truck, and someone from the SUV is jumping onto the dump truck because they're trying to get us off the dump truck. We're trying to take over the dump truck, basically. And the 2 characters that we're doubling, we're having this fight scene on the front of the dump truck. Someone from the SUV. So we've got a lot going on. Someone's jumping from the SUV onto the dump truck, and then we hear that the dump truck's going to blow. So we need to jump off. and it was the last scene of that episode, and we talked about, oh, we're going to try to do it a different way, but like, just it's in the books. And I thought, I was so nervous. And this is where a situation where myself and the other stunt double, you can't not jump, because if they go, you've basically screwed up the shot, and they could get hurt, right? So you both got to go, you're committing.
Because
So
in the story, this thing's going to explode.
it's going to explode. Yeah. So the dump truck's barreling along, probably, like, it's huge. So it can only go so fast. But we're in sort of Abbotsford, and the ground is like cement because these trucks have been going over it back and forth. That's what they do all day long. So it feels like cement, even though it's like dirt. It's like compact.
Okay.
And yeah, we have to do it. We have to jump off. It's so high. It's like 20 feet, 10, like between 10, like 15 feet high. It's crazy. And we're moving. So
how fast would you estimate you're going?
Yeah, we're going 15 kilometers an hour. But the problem is, like, it wasn't a stunt person driving that can hold, a pace. They have to have a certain license for it. So that person's driving. Anyways, it's just getting, we knew we could do it, and we were confident. Everything was looking amazing. The drivers were doing great. The guys jumped out of the SUV onto the dump truck. So anyways, we have to jump. 3, 2, 1, action. And we both just go for it. And when I hit the cement, I basically fractured both my ankles. Yeah. So, and we try to match, like, by rolling, and I roll a half roll, and the other double knows that really hurt. So he just comes over to try to match the scene a bit, and then we cut, and I have to just get someone to carry my bags home. And yeah, it wasn't good.
Did the camera captured the landing? That was on purpose?
Yeah, everything looked good. They kept it. It's in the show. It's actually on my demo reel for my own memory. Yeah.
Do you remember the show?
Wasn't fun. I do. I probably shouldn't say.
Okay. We'll go check the demo reel.
Yeah. Go check the demo reel. So that was one of my hardest stunts. Yeah.
And that was one take.
I went for it. One take. Yeah, it was one take. And 3, 2, 1, we just jump. And you can't just, like, jump like low. You know how you can sometimes cut the difference between the height, and just, like, sort of like 1 foot off and drop low. We had to, like, jump so it looked good, right? Because it was, like, on the side, so we needed to show some air. So yeah. I think what I proved that day was a commitment to my, like, co-worker stunt performer, because we both just said we're both going for it. So yeah.
I love to go to baseball games. I don't watch sports on TV, but I will go to a baseball game at the drop of a hat. And when they slide into base, every time they do it, a switch goes off in my head that says, I would not do that for you, David. That's not happening. I cannot imagine the circuit that flips that says, I'm going to dive face first into a plate.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Not happening.
There has to be, and perhaps you can speak to this a little bit on, like, a lizard brain way deep inside of their level, a switch that you just have to throw. And, like, I'm going to go for this. And it's going to hurt, and it may put me out of commission for a while, and I may do serious damage to myself.
Yeah, I can't say what it is, because I had a daughter at home, so they think that was my big thing. It's like, oh, but the one big one before that, but that question from your fan was a good one. It was good to go back the memory. But before kids, I think you just don't have that switch. So I was asked to do, like, a 250-foot decelerator off a building in Surrey, and it was just wild. Like, you're 250 feet high and you're on a wire, and you just have to, like, go backwards. And this system,
that's a ratchet pull?
No, it was a decelerator where you get sort of lowered down with the. So it looks like I'm falling out, like, down the side of the building for really high. And again, it was outside, windy day, have to be super confident. I mean, I was nervous, but there was just something I just knew it was going to go great, and I knew it was going to be so much fun. And but yeah, still pretty scary. But again, I think I just didn't have that. I was just on my own. I was just, like, a young kid, didn't have a family yet, and just went for it. I just knew. I guess I just trusted the riggers and everything. But then as you get older and you have kids, you think, okay, this you start to think about the what if a
Exactly.
lot more. Yeah.
What if I'm not going to see my
Which is,
grandkids?
or I can't afford to be hurt right now, or this
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Or
no
playing out
instances of
the, go
playing out
ahead,
the.
playing out the, like, okay, if, like, even people doing I haven't done one, but basically a car roll. Like that's like your body is going to be very sore after, and it's going to be super cool. But are you okay to be sore, or go to physio and have a hurt back for a couple weeks? So that's all. We have
I
a
don't know
different
that
mindset.
you have to. You just
You have to.
made of strong stuff. I forget the name of the stuntman. Forgive me. Maybe the chat knows. But
Hmm.
it's on the SGU Blu-rays special features for Cloverdale, and he's doubling for Brian J. Smith, who played Matthew Scott
Okay.
in Universe, and there's a car roll. He goes onto the hood, and he doesn't complete the roll, and he gets hurt.
Oh.
And
Ow.
they edited it in such a way that they were able to cut to the interior of the car, so you get the glass effect and everything else. But the side shot, he didn't go up completely onto the car, and part of the car struck him. Is not like he's on the hood, but he doesn't
Hmm.
make it the whole way, and
Right.
he was okay, but he
Oh,
also had to get help.
yeah.
So,
You gotta.
and it's one of those where it's like, did we get the shot? We got the shot. Okay. Ow.
I know. There's always that level that you're not. I mean, unfortunately, a little bit indisposable in a way. Like, you put your best effort, you stay with the show. But if you do get hurt, they have to finish it. They have to put someone else in. So,
Brent
yeah,
Connolly. Thank you,
sometimes
Anthony Rowling.
oh, yeah, yeah. You just feel like, oh, I did all that, but then, okay, next. But
Right.
it's part of the job. It's part of the job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Man.
Connolly, that's so good.
How big is that team up there? Like, if I mention that name, it's like, oh, yeah, I see him every once in a while, or I have no idea who that is. I've heard of him, but otherwise I've not worked with him. Vancouver's
Oh,
a big
no,
pool now.
it is a big pool. There was a time where lots of people got in, and then when it gets slower, that pool gets back to, the same crew again. Then when it gets busy, it gets bigger again. So that's just all how it goes. But, well, Brent and I are in Stunts Canada together, so that's a bit of
I
a
see.
smaller group. Yeah, and then you just know people you've been working with and trust and count on for that long, and who have a long resume, and yeah. Or a lot of times it's really, if you're coordinating and you move into that position, what I like about that role is, well, any position, if you have a question about something that you're not quite confident, I could pick up the phone and ask so many people that would be gladly help you either understand how to coordinate or who the best person to call. And then when you are coordinating, if you do hire the best of the best, your day is going to go a lot smoother, and that's when it's fun.
Man, there's so much involved here to pull this off. Lockwatcher
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know what the extent of your work was with Brad Wright on Travelers. Great show,
Travelers. Oh,
underrated
yeah.
show. I loved
Yes.
it.
Yes. That's right. You know what? I think I was probably on something else during that
Okay.
time.
Oh, okay.
What year was that? Wait, because I always go by
Sorry,
2009 and
I assumed that you
2020.
were, if that came up, I assumed that you were in it. I apologize.
No, I'm trying to think what year that was because I had a small
That
break.
would have been, it aired from fall of 16 to spring of 19. So that
Okay,
time
yeah.
frame there.
Yeah. Again, there was a few years there was a lot of things going on in
I see.
shows, and if you got stuck on one, you didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, there's so much overlap there for sure. And it's one of those situations, especially I would think in your industry, where if you know someone who can do the job, I part of me would be like, do I really want to take a chance on an unknown? If I have a bird in the hand, right?
Mhm.
There's you want to bring in people that you can rely on and trust, who can do the work, and you can uh, be confident will be straight with you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is you learn very quickly that if you have the right person professionally and that can physically do it, then it will just go so much smoother, right? So, and again, it goes with the level as well. Like, let's say you have, okay, just a driver that can go like A to B or do your slide. Is there someone that can finesse it and like add to it and make it look even cooler for the director? You know, like that's when you're getting to an even better level. Like, oh, sure, we can do what the director wants, just like a sliding 90, but like, can we, make it more pizzazzy? Like, that's what's gonna, I think that's the part that you start to have a lot more fun and people are getting more than they expected and you didn't know that you could do that, but being able to express that you could offer, like, not that you're trying to take away the job of the director and take away his vision, but if he doesn't really know that like someone's capable of doing something bigger or more cool for him, gets more value out of that, I think that's where you're hitting a like that's cool. That's when it gets really fun.
Are there instances where you're executing or want to execute something with a certain move or maneuver or a certain jump, a certain stance, and the director's like, well, I want you to do it this way, and you're like, physically, like, it feels weird, but you look at the take afterwards and like, yeah, that was the right call, but it didn't, like, if it was actually me in that situation, I wouldn't do it that way, and nor does it make sense to do it that way, but the camera is watching and the camera is why we
Yeah.
are doing it.
I think that happens a lot in the fight scenes and things, so I couldn't really speak to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done those things, but yeah, like I some little things like if you're holding something, it just is awkward for the double. But yeah, for camera, you definitely can try to contort your body to make it happen. Those kinds of things for sure. Yeah,
uh,
I think of like the basic level or just correcting things like if this double is running and she runs kind of like funny, but like you got the the stunt double that's like this Olympic sprinter. It just,
right.
you have to act, yeah, you have to actually like tone it down and like match because you just don't want, there's always like a running joke with like the stunt people that, right before they're gonna go, you're just like, the coordinator will be like, okay, hey, don't F it up or like don't suck. Right?
Well, that's the
Like
thing.
just
But then you look at the script and it's like, this character does what for a living? I mean, it's like I'm pretending to be that,
yeah.
and I guess that all comes down to communication and prep.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But the joke is like you're nervous already and you're ready to go and they're about to call 3, 2, 1, and the corner's like, hey, don't screw it up, right? As a joke, like, like I won't. But I
just
had
putting that
someone
out
that
there in
was,
the universe.
yeah, a girl, it's like an Olympic, karate or judo, and she's doubling someone. And in this situation, yeah, like make it less awesome, right? Because it had to
Hmm.
look messy, but she's so strong and such like an Olympic athlete as a double,
Hmm.
right? You're running frantic, you're through the snow. Don't be so good at it. Slip once and throw a fall in. So it's all just playing with it. Which if you get, it's just fun when you can communicate that with a director and get them more than they want.
How often do you, let me put a pin in that one and come back to it. Um,
It,
I think that this has been a criticism that I have heard from Air Force folks and military folks, is that for Carter, for her age, um, for her to have both uh, training in I'm for theoretical astrophysics and to be an Air Force pilot who flew in the Persian Gulf, um,
yeah.
like, she's kind of perfect. And it's not that she's perfect, but it's not impossible that a person like her would exist, but it's very,
Mhm.
very unlikely. So the point is that you are playing a role for a person that is designed to be an example for people to aspire to be, not necessarily to be a one-to-one person who could actually exist and be as that. There has to be some room for play there. And you're a part of making that happen. You're a part of making that process occur.
Yeah, I was thinking of it totally on like a different level of, and I don't think this is the right answer, but this is the way I think of it too. Is and again, it's another topic. It's just that, sure, let's just use Carter, Amanda. Amanda has a stunt double, but we also don't want to take away from that, like, understanding that Amanda is Carter, like she can actually do it, right? Like, because that's one of the things is like you want to make sure it's inspiring for kids or women, or that like with these super, like, you can be anything you want to be type thing. When I was getting into it, like, there was still, I mean, on the edge, they were still using, like maybe a guy to double a girl quickly, like in a car, and it started to just evolve. And it's so important that it does, because now, like, okay, it's so neat to have, okay, sure, Amanda had a stunt double, but it was for safety. She's capable. So we had that fine line of like, oh, Amanda did as much as she could, but if it were that, it stalled the show, we put the stunt double in. And then again, the stunt double is a girl, very similar to very capable females to get this accomplished. So you want to say you have a double, but it's not that it's not inspiring, it's doable. Like, I know it's probably not along the lines of what you're saying, but
it's kind of next door to it though. But it's perfect that you bring this up, because Horizontal Harmonics wants to know if you could go back into this and kind of thread this again. How is it decided whether an actor or a double should perform a stunt? How do you feel that out?
That's a really good question, because like I said, some of them really want to do it, some don't. I mean, I think what it comes down to is, if there was potential for Amanda to twist an ankle or get hurt, you just don't want that. It will stall. You can't shoot all of the locations you have, and all the scheduling just comes to a screeching halt. So I think for the most part, just it's really the coordinator picking out what are the hazards, what could potentially go wrong. And it could be anything. Like, you see that clip that you had, if Amanda's running through the so we always just can pick something up at the very end, her coming out of the field, just for safety. Because if she were to twist an ankle, like I said, it's just not fun for everyone. So you
got Ray Douglas blowing things left and right.
Totally,
I mean, he's having a heyday in the effects truck over there, and just
totally. But so that's a good question, and it is a little bit of the actor, it's a bit of the stunt double communicating, the coordinator and director all just saying what, and production. Some productions are like, no, not happening, and some are like, oh, how much of Amanda can we get?
I'm curious. Not necessarily specifically. We always hear, oh, Tom Cruise loves to do his own stunts. Well, but he's also, I mean, imagine the insurance policy that they have to have on him for this movie, in the event that he, dies doing X, Y, Z. You always get the impression that, or I always often get the impression that an actor wants to do as many of their own stunts as they can. Where does that leave the double feeling? I mean, it's like, this is why I'm here. I'd like to get utilized. Or are most of you guys like, if you want to go for this, all the more power to you. Where does your ego fall, I guess, is what I'm asking, Sharon. Where do you have to shove it to the side? And where is that push-pull continuum?
Yeah, that's, another great question. It's not about us. So that's where the line is sort of, right? It's not about us. So if someone's coming there to make sure that they're going to feel bad because they get used, that's an ego like that. You just have to remember you're there for the actor, for them to feel comfortable, for them to do as much as possible. You might not work, but that's okay. Some of the days you show up and you don't get in, and some you do. again, you're really there for the purpose to help them, to make it all work for everyone.
Mm.
Yeah.
William Aarons wants to go back to Trio, the episode in the mine. I
Mm.
should have rewatched the episode. I have not. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Oh, should
But
have
apparently
I.
it does include a high-level fall in Trio. So was that likely you?
Yeah, the boxes. I think I would
That's
come
right, the
in and yeah,
boxes. Oh
yeah, that
no.
was me.
With the knife bar trick.
I have that on
Oh
my
boy.
demo reel if it's the same one we're talking. But I was some of them you're
Yeah.
on a wire as well. So like I was
Yeah.
assisted the boxes and she falls and then I'm on a wire. So that's a decelerator on a
Okay.
small level. So decelerate down, kind of slow right to the last second. And then I pretend that like she hurts her ankle, I think, and then she's got to like on the show like hobble for the next one. Yeah, yeah. If that's the same one I'm thinking of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can play with a lot. I know it must be hard for fans and people watching because, yeah, like I said, it's all the fine line of you want them to believe that we are not superheroes, but we're human and we can do these things to inspire, but we also want to keep it safe. So there are things in the background like riggers and special effects that we all work because at the end of the day, when we get that high that you're talking about, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it went all well. We all high five each other, and that's the rush. It's the rush for the team. Like, okay, the special effects went off at the right time. The performer timed it well. It's just like such a group effort. I think that's the
How
rush.
how often do you go back and watch your work? And how many performers are you aware of who go back and look for ways to improve themselves on camera from a technical perspective to improve their craft, or or is it for a lot of you like it's in the can, I never want to see it again? I
That's
don't have
so
enough
funny.
time.
Yeah, I know
So
you have such good questions. Like I'm a visual learner, and I
okay.
actually need to see like what I've done. So usually when I do one, I'll run behind camera. Like Dan knows this. I'll run and I'll watch playback. I'm like, oh, like I know because like I can visualize what I need to quickly fix. Even if they're like, oh, that was done. I'm like, oh, I can give you like one more because I can see
Hmm.
like what I want to fix. And I think a lot of performers are always constantly doing that. Like we're sort of nowadays you can previs things, so you previs a fight and you just go over it meticulously. I think that's just like innate in all of us. We just want to see, we want to correct, we want to fix, we want to make sure, even yeah, when the director gets it, we want like one more maybe to make it even better, whether they have time or not. So I think that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Hmm. Have any experiences with safety glass?
I think for a while I was the glass person because on my
Tell me
reel it was
more.
like going through that glass, going through that glass. And what you said, like, I do go back and watch a lot of these things because it brings back such a good memory. But they're replaying a lot on Netflix. I did a lot. Like I think that's why some of these little pockets. I did a lot on Smallville, and
Yes.
they're re-showing. So they're on Netflix now. My daughter is into Smallville, which is just so funny because I doubled Erica, and it's just so. I would be neat if they just brought back Stargate or something, because all these they're just great shows. I just feel like generations need to
We're going
go back
into
to it.
a whole era where retro TV is becoming TV again. I want to take everyone to your website for a moment, if I may.
Oh,
And
go ahead.
this is simsational.com, which there's a link in the description below. But let's. I'm assuming this is your reel
Yes,
here. Can we take a look at a few of your?
you,
Woo! Sorry there.
that's the
Um,
accelerator.
wow. The seller candy.
Glass.
Oh man, glass. There it is,
That's the
right there.
boxes. Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's it. Um,
So
Jeez.
good. So I'm on a wire for
And
one
they
for a
just
couple.
paint that out.
Yeah,
Man, oh man. And so everything about this is rigged to go, and you just fall.
yeah, yeah.
And then so they before you hit the ground, it's designed to reduce speed and stop.
Correct. Yeah, but I still hit the ground, but just lighter, not like a hurt your ankles one.
For sure. Okay. Wow.
Oh, this
Now in a
has been
situation,
replayed. That has been replayed so many times. I get kicked by Don Liu, who they thought I was on Wires. Everyone, they replay it once a year.
is it the one in Flame or this
It's
one
coming
here?
up here. This one
Okay.
is the noise. Watch, I'm standing.
Ooh, through the glass.
Yeah, yeah, he kicks me right out there.
Did you feel that one?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't. It was just fine. I felt fine.
There we go. Are you the person in the air here?
I am, but that was CGI with the
Obvious.
explosion. I'm just obviously. I'm just saying it. If you
You're
go
still
back,
with me, Sharon.
the timing of it, I don't know if I go first, but it wasn't supposed to be engulfing me.
Oh man. There's the other part of that.
Angle.
Wow.
Oh, Continuum. See,
I've
more
not
glass.
seen it. I've heard it's good.
Yeah, it's good. That was good.
Were you in the car?
There's my jump.
Oh, okay. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I'm in the car. I'm actually in the passenger side of the car.
Oh, okay. Over here. So this is the dump truck right here.
No. Oh, that's the one. We went for it.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow.
Yeah.
Ouch. Did you hear it crack?
Oh yeah, I knew because the cement was so hard. I wish you could see the dump truck.
I see enough.
Oh,
Man.
She's the man. She's the man was fun.
Okay. Nice dress.
Yeah.
Soccer field.
Yeah. So good.
Is this a dream sequence? Oh
yeah,
wow.
it is.
Okay.
And I'm on a wire.
Man. Ooh, down hard, girl.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
How
good. Just drop.
How do you do that? There's no like the wind's gonna get knocked out of you. I imagine it's similar like if you're going to fall, there's a certain way that you fall.
Yeah,
you know?
like a break fall. Yeah.
Yeah. So that you don't come away with like ideally permanent damage.
So you can keep working.
Man,
yeah.
Exactly. Man, I don't want to go through all of it, but these are really just.
That was good. I'm wearing deer legs attached to my. Oh, there's more glass.
Why are you wearing deer legs?
Because I'm a half deer. I'm one of those. What are those called? Where your body is a deer, and you have two legs.
Not like a centaur, but
yeah. So we had these prosthetic things on the front. I had to jump that with those attached to my leg, and I was like, "Oh dear God, if I catch like a hook."
Deer indeed. Don't. That's wild. I just assumed that they CG'd it.
No, I'm wearing this piece that my running shoes are under those things. Yeah, that was a funny one in the night.
Wow, that is amazing. So this has I just looked at the time. I'm so sorry that the time has blown away. This has been tremendous to have you. It means a lot to go through.
I had so much fun. I just wanted to thank you. Oh, thank you for having me on. It was just a good blast of memories, and it was so fun to go back and talk to you about it all.
Absolutely a pleasure. This is the work that you guys create, the work that you go through to pull this stuff off. Not enough accolades are given to the stunt team, because there's so much to this process, and it is all of the same piece that comes together to pull that off. So
it is.
And I'm sure Amanda would agree that you are as much Samantha Carter as she is. So
I hope so, because like I said, she's an inspiration. So if she thinks that I helped her out and made it all come together, then that was all I'd be happy with at the end of the day. So
absolutely. Sharon, thank you for coming on. And
thank you so much.
I would love to have you back in a bigger roundtable with some of you in the future here. So
fun. Oh my God, that'd be so fun. Well, thank you so much for your time.
We'll have you back. Thank you for yours. You take care of yourself, okay?
I will. Thanks to everyone.
I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, take care.
Liebchen. Too late. Yeah, that was a perfectly valid question there. How does one become a stunt performer these days? Yeah, unfortunately, she's already gone. Ugh! My name is David Reed. You're watching the Stargate Oral History Project. If you enjoy the show, you want to see more content like this on YouTube, hit that like button. It does make a difference with the show and continue to help us grow our audience. Please also consider sharing this video with a Stargate friend. And if you want to get notified about future episodes, click subscribe. And if you click the bell icon, it'll notify you the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes. I just launched a Patreon, patreon.com/dialthegate. I swore up and down for years I was not going to do this. I was not going to take money out of the pockets of fellow fans, because you out there are no different than I am. Why do I deserve, your hard-earned cash? And I've been talking with a lot of other creators recently, and in my financial situation, everything else, part of it's very much been like, what makes you better than anyone else? And there's a certain amount of truth in that. So I've gone ahead and set that up, or you can look up a clip that I created yesterday. Just type in Dial the Gate Humble Pie, and that will get you that information. But I'm still working on how to visualize this on the backers on the end of the show here. That's not going to happen this week, and that will begin starting next weekend. And for those of you who have already joined me, thank you so much. I will be in touch. We have a number of episodes heading your way this weekend here. Let me pull this up here. Kevin Kiner, composer of Stargate SG-1, he is joining us tomorrow, the 24th of April at 10. This is actually 3 p.m. Pacific now. I'll go ahead and update this. And then Eric Steinberg Natan joining us at 3 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, April the 26th. We actually have part 3 of Stargate Worlds with Christopher Klug, lead creative director of Giant Mountain Entertainment. He's going, it's a pre-recorded episode. We published yesterday, is it yesterday? Yesterday. Tori Higginson narrated the story of Stargate Worlds. And Chris provided us with that information, along with Sean Dugan and Steve Garvin, his story team. So with that information already out there, now he's going to go in and fill in some of the story with working with Brad and company to craft a story for Stargate Worlds. And that's going to be dropping on Saturday. I think at 10 a.m. Pacific, if I can get my butt in gear and get all my ducks in a row and pull that one off. So a lot of moving parts. And I really appreciate you for helping me pull any of this off that you can. So thanks so much for tuning in. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate. Lockwatcher and Anthony, you guys are great. Lockwatcher captained this episode. Really appreciate you. Thanks to my entire team for helping me pull this show off. Can't do it without you guys at all. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you on the other side.